We're going to go over the top 3 reasons to use hard money. And we're not talking about the private money. We're talking about real hard money. The old-fashioned where it's based more on the real estate and the property instead of the person borrowing the money. So before we get into the top 3 reasons, one of the biggest myths out there is that hard money costs more than private money and or even bank financing. Over the last 1 year with the Fed raising rates, actually banks have become within 1% of where hard money is, and private money and hard money have always been kind of the same thing, except as we go over the number one thing is hard money is not in a box. So here are the 3 reasons to use hard money. The number one reason is flexibility. It's not in a box loan. With banks and even some of the big private money lenders, they have a box. They have a box for fix and flips and or BRRRR kind of properties. With real hard money, there's flexibility. You can look at any kind of transaction as long as it's backed by some good piece of real estate. For example, we just did a property for Sam. He's buying a small commercial property that had some land next to it. He wants to be able to buy that property, split off the land, divide it into lots, and then sell the lots. And when he sells the lots, he'll actually pay off the hard money loan and will be able to have the flexibility to recast his loan, make the loan smaller as he pays those lots off. Hard money has flexibility in that we just did a loan for a person who is buying a dump truck for their concrete business. They had a piece of real estate. They needed $200,000 to go to auction, buy the trucks, and within a couple months pay that back. But they needed the money, they needed cash at the auction, they had a piece of real estate, and that's the flexibility of hard money. It doesn't matter if it's a first, a second, or even a third, as long as it makes sense, as long as it's backed by real estate, true hard money will look at that. Last example for flexibility is on BRRRR. Most companies will only give you 90 and maybe 100% of the rehab. True hard money like we do will go up to the full cost, up to the 75% of what they can refinance it into. We have flexibility because we look at the property, we look at the exit strategy, and we are doing this to help investors be successful. True hard money is what you need when you need flexibility. So the second reason is you. With a lot of lenders, you need a certain credit score, you need certain experience, or you need certain reserves or money. The beauty of true hard money is it's based mostly on the property. In case of credit scores, we don't care if it's a 600 score, we don't care if it's a 620 score. The score will not determine your loan to value and or what we could give you in rate and fees, because it is based more on what the property is. Yes, we're going to look at credit. We want to make sure you're paying people. But in this industry, a lot of credit scores are downgraded just because of usage. They're using your credit cards for projects, driving down your credit scores. We don't believe that's fair when we're lending money based on you using those credit cards for those projects. We understand exactly how investors do business, and that's where you need hard money. And we talked about experience. In most places, you need 3, maybe 5 transactions over years to make sure you get the highest loan to value. With us, it really depends on the deal. We just did a loan, we've actually done 3 now, for an investor just starting out because the deal was so good. She could buy the property and rehab it and still be under a price point, under 70%, where it worked for a flip, or if she needed to keep it as a rental, it was going to positively cash flow over $200. So depending on the property, on the deal, if you don't have experience, hard money is your option. When we're talking about you and where hard money helps, with the big companies, the banks, the big investment companies that do private lending, they require more money. They require more money down or reserves. We just had a transaction we looked at in Texas where the only thing that stopped the private money lender from lending to them was the reserves. They just didn't have enough. They were like 2 months short. We don't really look at reserves. Once again, we're looking at the property. We're looking at, do they have the money to finish the property, or is a property just a good deal? That's what we're going to look at. We're not going to look at how much you have in 401k and savings. Hard money is for you when you don't have the credit or the credit score, you don't have the reserves, or you don't have the experience. That's where hard money fits. The third reason you need hard money is speed. If you need to close something in days instead of weeks, if you need to close something without an appraisal, if you need to close something that is unique, that doesn't take underwriting, that doesn't take the time that the banks do. I always tell about the story of one of our borrowers, and it happens all the time, but he was able to pick up a property at $300,000. 10% less, he saved $30,000 on the purchase, and he was bidding against 6 other people. The only reason the sellers went with his offer was because of speed. He could close in 10 days. When you're dealing with hard money, speed is key. Typically using speed and hard money, you could come up and actually have the cost of hard money paid for, because just like in this transaction, he saved $30,000. Not only did he save the $30,000, but if he did not have hard money, he wouldn't have got the deal. But the $30,000 actually paid for more than the cost of any financing, including hard money. He got this property, what we'll call basically free of finance costs, just because he could close it fast with hard money. You don't need a slow lender when you have a deal that can make or break your year or your month. The top 3 reasons, again, to use hard money is flexibility. There is no box here. We can look at any real estate deal. Number 2 is you don't have to have the credit score. You don't have to have the experience or the reserves. And number 3 is speed. But when you're looking for hard money, you should always shop around, and we have the perfect tool for that. Below, you can click the download, and you'll find a tool that is the loan cost optimizer. You can shop around and use this tool with 2 or 3 different lenders and find out what's the best cost for that deal. Sometimes it's better to pay more points. Sometimes it's better to pay higher interest rates. But it also takes into account all the other fees, underwriting, appraisal, if they charge you all those things. So download this. It's a great tool. It'll save you a lot of money, and best of all, it's free. Now, if you want to make more money on real estate deals, stick around and catch us on the next video.